Yeah, yeah, yeah. We back again, folks. Um, oh yeah. I gotta get off here early tonight, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get packed and ready to go, you know what I mean? But anyway, we're gonna talk about it tonight. We're gonna talk about it a little bit tonight. We're gonna talk about some of the immigrants, what they did here in Florida, and then also what's going on in Chicago. And I just want to hear from you guys a little bit. See what you guys think about it. We're gonna talk about it right after this. Boy, oh boy, do we have one for you today. Got to be more careful, boy, I tell you. Got to be more careful, boy, I tell you. I'm always first. I'm never next. Bang bang boogie. Yeah. Bang bang boogie. Man, this is kind of exciting. As we venture off into this thing a little bit, my channel has mainly been about sports, but we're ventured off into all types of topics now. Yes. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna react to Greg Foreman. Um, he had a video. Oh man, and it's talking about it's controversial what some people may not like. Some people don't. Some people are on the fence about it. Me personally, I feel like well, I'm gonna give you my take here on the immigrants and the people just coming over here to the border. I believe they need to be vetted. I don't have a problem with people coming here, but vet the people, make sure they're not hardened criminals or whatever the case may be. I feel like you just have to vet people before they come over here. Number one. Number two, then you're sending them to these sanctuary cities. We see here in the state of Florida. I live in the great state of Florida. Our governor made some kind of bill. I forgot the name of the bill. Don't even ask me, but you can look it up. I believe to the point to where if immigrants come here to the state of Florida and they don't have like a social security card, or if they're illegal, and you hire them, you as the person that hired them will go to jail. And I believe it's a felony. Um, and then we've seen here. It's hit here pretty hard actually. See houses not being finished, different things like that. And people like, yeah, I mean, on both sides of the fence, really, Democrats and Republicans. The way I feel about it is, look, they say, oh, they won't work the jobs that you will work. Well, first of all, AI is going to take a whole bunch of our jobs. Not all of us, but it's gonna get a lot of people. First of all, second of all, I believe people will work those jobs. But it's something called, I believe in capitalism. I do believe in capitalism. But at the same point, I believe that an owner of a business needs to pay their people. Another thing I do believe in also is that if you're a felon, you should be able to get a job. I mean, there's levels to this now. Don't get me twisted, but if you're a felon, you done your 10 years in prison or whatever the case may be, 5 years, a year, whatever the case may be, you should at that point be able to get a job. Yeah, because what happens? You get out, you're a felon, and you got to go right back to prison because companies don't want to hire you. And I know what it looks like from the public eye. It looks like, oh, well, you got a bunch of felons. They're going to steal this, they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. Well, you got to give the people an opportunity to be recovered, first of all. Second of all, excuse me, I think some people, non felons, will work those jobs. But it's something called American greed that stops people from working those jobs because the owners do not want to pay people for those jobs. I mean, me myself, I see it all the time where companies don't want to pay the talent what they're worth. See it all the time. They do not want to pay people for what they're worth. They just want to bulge their pockets. So what I'm getting at is if these owners, I call it American greed, if these owners would take less money. They're already filthy rich for the most part. I'm not talking about the little moms and pops and stuff like that, but for the most part, a lot of these companies are filthy rich and they're just lining their pockets because everything is based off their profit. Of course, you're a business owner, you want to make a profit. Please don't get that twisted. But at the same time, I believe you can afford to pay these people more. And I think that's a big topic that nobody talks about in this whole thing of, oh, Governor DeSantis, look at all these houses. And I mean, hire the people. They'll or pay people more. And I'm not going to say it just like it's, just that simple. I'm smarter than that. I know everything isn't just that simple. In some cases, it's not. Some cases, it is. And then, as we see in Chicago, one of these sanctuary cities, I believe Chicago is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've been busing people up to Chicago, and it has gotten to the brink of these these Democratic ran states. They hired a guy. He said he was gonna. He's doing actually what he said he was gonna do. He was gonna bring immigrants up there. Now they're bursting at the seams because guess what? Not only are there too many, they're taking up all the shelters, all the men's shelters. Now that's one thing we can't get enough of anyway. Is men having shelters. Because most of the time you see women and children who are able to get the shelters. But anyway, they've taken up over like 50 shelters in the state, in the Chicago area. And they're also doing different crimes. Ganging up. I ain't gonna say ganging because I'm not saying they're a gang, but they have been doing different crimes. And what I would like to do is react to this video. What is going on? What happened to my video, man? I want to react to this video from another YouTuber named Greg Foreman. I definitely want to react to that and see what we think. See, and you guys need to go over there, give him a follow. Greg Foreman, Black Conservative, something. I forgot the name of his channel. But anyway, if you just Google or go into the search bar and hit Greg Foreman, bang, bang, boogie, you'll find him. What was it here? Nothing difficult about it. Sharing a large amount of profits with your workforce, rich people just don't want to do. Business owners generally aren't the problem. First time watching, I dig. Appreciate you. Man, oh yeah, we get that. Can I get that comment on the screen? Let me see. Bam, there we go. There we go. Nothing difficult about it. Nothing difficult about it. Sharing a large amount of profits with your workforce. That's what I've been saying. Rich people just don't want to do it. Exactly. And they still will have enough money in their pockets to actually do what they want to do. And like I say, I am a capitalist, but at the same time, pay your people. Pay people. And I don't know if you heard me earlier, really quick, but I'm just go back over really quick. All the felons that are getting out of prison, they need a place to work. I'm not saying it depends on what type of felon they are. They are because there are levels to it. You know what I mean? And then also pay your people more money. They will come to work. I promise you, they'll come to work. But we're like I say, we're feeling a little bit here in Florida. But I think as time goes, I think it'll roll over and we'll get people here to work. They say people don't want to work on the roofs and all this and the construction. I know plenty of people who are not of Hispanic descent who do those jobs. And nothing against the Mexican people. Come over here, just come the right way. That's the way I feel about it. So I'm gonna go over this video right quick, and we just gonna talk about it a little bit. I think you did an excellent job. Hold on. Let me know if you can't hear.
De 3 meses en un refugio donde sufrimos el terrorismo, la discriminación. Necesitamos de su ayuda, necesitamos ayuda para los niños en el tema de la salud. Hay muchos niños enfermos, hay mucha basura.
So right there before this this lady starts to talking, before she starts to talking, you see these immigrants up there. They have them housing once again in 50 different places up there, and they're saying that they need work. Of course, they need work. Well, I mean, you bring them up here, you can't give them all your resources. They have already provided, I believe, over $100 million. Then just Chicago alone. That's not including the whole state of Illinois. Issue with capitalism is paying your employees a bigger portion of your profits is counter to the goal. Make money, make more money. I get that, but at the same time, that's what you're gonna have to do. I understand, and that's where I say that's the American greed. That's the American greed of it. Now, going up to Chicago, well, one of these sanctuary cities, we're gonna just go through this really quick and just see how now the black community in Chicago, how they feel about it, and what's actually also going on in Chicago right now. Here we go.
Say real fast to the black community of this town. In the words of Malcolm X, we've been hoodwinked, run amok, bamboozled. Mayor Johnson, I need you to listen. I need your undivided attention so that you can hear what the soul of Chicago is like.
Yeah. Talk to him.
Oh, that probate division. It's not just the immigrants that's coming in and bogarting our communities. That probate division with the public administration office is illegally taking our property.
These are our touchstones being used to free everybody else except black people. You sending our money to Ukraine.
So right there, they're talking about basically really quick. They're talking about the tax money is basically, I believe they had over 100 million set up for the immigrants. But their tax money is being sent to Ukraine and then also going to the immigrants, but it's not helping the actual black community where they're housing these immigrants. You have a responsibility to stockholders and do something like radical change of profit sharing, which will adversely affect the stockholders. Oh, that's a great point. Great point. Definitely. But at the same time, if you don't have a business that's making money, appreciate you, Cole. If you don't have a business that's making money, so I get your point, and that's a great point you made about the stockholders. But if you don't have a business that's making money, like some of the houses around here are sitting up because the immigrants aren't here to work on them. Just being flat out honest. So you have to pay somebody a little bit more money to come out here and work on them, but the job is getting done. And then that will become status quo. So then your profit margins, when you do your budget and different things like that, now you have to account for those things. And right now prices are going up. I don't know. I'm not a big guy on the economics, but I just touching the surface of it, I believe there's something they can do, and also keep the stock owners happy, the stock holders happy. But at the same time, it may take, with all due respect, it may take a company or two to fall through the cracks and not be able to make it, unfortunately. But that's just like me or somebody not being able to get a job or somebody not being able to pay their bills. It happens. We sometimes fall through the cracks. Sometimes that's just what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mexico, they don't even let black women in their borders. FYI, in the Ukraine, all us black women can't get through the borders in the Ukraine, and we spend money there. I'll tell you I'm going there. No, it's so lost. It's not even funny. It's not even. We see children coming up missing on the border, and Mexicans don't even talk about it. Y'all won't even tell the president to close the border. Now
He said, children coming up missing on the border. Tell the president to close the border.
Y'all sorry as hell up you are. You are sorry.
All right, guys.
Oh man, I want to go over that really quick. Because you know, we've had some pushback. You know, I've been telling people about this, especially this guy right here. What about the position being automated through things like AI? That's what I talked about earlier. Eventually, that will be the problem for all jobs. What responsibilities would a company have not to explore an AI workforce? That's exactly. That's what I already said. I said that it doesn't matter. Eventually, I said in the beginning of the video, eventually AI coming for everybody's job for the most part. And I also showed I put it in our group text, to be honest, where there was AIs out on these fields. They had tractors. Matter of fact, Club Cadet, you can look it up right now. Club Cadet has a lawnmower that will basically is automated, just like a Tesla. It drives itself. You can sit on top of it. It's a commercial mower. It drives itself. It keeps the lines. Boop, boop, does all its turns and everything like that. And it mows the yard itself. They got the other lawnmowers that's kind of like I think they're kind of like the vacuum cleaners that vacuum your house. I have one here. Go throughout the house. You let it go. But the Club Cadet, the big lawnmowers are different. It's different than that because it'll cut in a straight line. These vacuum cleaners, they actually just go all over the place, and they get it done though. Got here. What about capitalism should do improve profit margins, not improve profit sharing? Can they do both? Feel like they should be able to do both profit margin and improve profit sharing. I mean, like I say, I'm not a big in the economics aspect of all this, but they're gonna have to do something, especially here in Florida. How are they gonna get these people to come do these jobs? They're gonna have to pay more, or they're gonna have to hire the felons. They're gonna have to do something. And you can't just keep allowing. There's a stat in that video. I stopped it, but there's a stat in the video say there's 12,000 people have come since August of last year, something like that. 50 people a day on a bus or something like that. And that's just crazy. Why are we allowing that many people to come like that? Explain how that works within capitalistic society then. You said you love it, Cole. I do love it. But hey, how you do both? I don't know how you do both. But as a capitalist, that's allowing you to be a business owner. That's allowing you to go out and chase your dreams. That's allowing you to do your thing. But as you expand your business, I have an uncle who does very well for himself. And his business started here. And now he's in a whole different stratosphere, so to speak. Has all kind of properties and things like that. And he started with a mechanic shop. So how do you do all that? I don't know, but I do know he doesn't have a high turnaround. I'm not saying he's doing it right because I have no clue what his people get paid, but he doesn't have a high turnaround, or turnover, whatever you want to call it. So they have to find. It's their job to do it. It ain't my job to do it. If I had a business, actually I do have a couple of them, but it's my job to, once I get to the point to where I have to hire people, or once I get to the point to where other families are dependent upon me to keep them rolling, to make sure they are they can make money. And not all businesses need to do that. It just depends on the business model. There's so many things that's going to have to go into that decision. Not all businesses need to do it. Some businesses do very well. Some of them don't. Look at the car industry right now. Nobody is buying cars, new or used. So it's just one of them things that one of them things you rather fix your used car. Because I thought about jumping in the market, then I looked at the prices like, nah, I'm good. You know, my AC went out in one car, then AC went out in the other car. The car overheating, still messing up on me. Don't know why it's overheating now. I done paid about $3,000 on this doggone car. But I'm still making payments on it, so I'll be upside down. So I'm looking at options of fixing the car instead of going to get a new car. Same thing with the housing market. A lot of people, I mean, look at it, just raised rates again. Just one of them things. Yeah, no, they can't do both. Can attain a workforce in the day into this day and age, and you don't have to pay more. We got Mr. Deuce coming on the channel. So we're gonna bring him on in. Capitalism, capitalism is not for the worker. Of course, it's not for
We
the worker.
talking about sports, brother? We talking about some sports tonight, or what we doing, man?
No. We talking about Chicago and them immigrants and all.
About Chicago and them immigrants, brother. I mean, you're coming a little strong here.
Yeah, the immigrants.
Come back strong, man.
Yeah. Your call. I had to go and show them up because you know Paul, and your boy sitting politic over there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they in the chat? They in the chat with it?
No. You know Paul ain't gonna be in no chat, man. Paul probably sleep. But no, sitting politic here in the chat. And we talking about capitalism right now. And I'm just like, look, at the end of the day, these owners are gonna have to figure out how to pay people more money. As a capitalist society, I believe in capitalism, but they're gonna have to figure out how to pay people more money if they want to get people to come do these jobs. And eventually they'll figure it out.
Well, I don't know, man. I think right now in this country, we've hit a weird point where the corporations are navigating different ways to get labor force by going to like robots and shit like that.
Yeah, AI.
And then you have it to where like people also are still sitting there like, I don't want to work, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know what I mean? And then there's the other side to it too, where a lot of people are getting laid off, you know, like that's happening left and right now, which they're not really talking about in the media. But if you look at a lot of like these big corporations, they laid off like 200 or 300 people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, like my job. There's people threatening to quit. They weren't going to work. Guess what? They gave them a raise. They gave some CNAs a raise. They were threatening to quit. They gave them a raise. So
some labor forces are hard to fill right now.
The power is in
labor forces are hard.
Huh?
I said a lot of labor forces are hard to fill right now, man.
Yeah, but this was for the company itself, so it wasn't a temp service or anything like that. The power.
Well, that's what I mean, though. They're not replacing them people like that. You know, like you're not able to replace them CNAs just as quick as you got them. You know. Exactly. So it's like them CNAs know they have that power in their hands, so they're like, shit. Well, let me go ahead and get a couple extra dollars.
Power of the people, and that's what I'm saying.
And that's a good thing for a capitalist economy because that's really, in my opinion, when the economy is starting to reset itself.
Yes,
because at a point in time, like these millionaires and shit, to me, it seems like they have complete control over the market. And then when something like this happens, to where inflation's high, people are struggling, but not too bad to the point where they can, you know, not work and not really feel it. I mean, they could do other things. They can Uber. A lot of people are Airbnbing houses and stuff. So it's a different kind of job market nowadays too.
It's making you do things differently, making you think outside the box, making you know what I'm saying? Like Uber, I did Lyft, I did all that. Let's see. Yes, it is. It's their job to make money, point blank, period. But it's also their job to make money, just like you're saying. Sitting politics. He says it's their job to make money, point blank, period. Yes, but you're not going to make money if you don't have nobody doing the job. So eventually, you got to pay somebody to do the job. It's a catch-22. you got to pay them, and then that like
The
at a
companies that are
nursing
doing the
home,
best right now are the ones that are taking care of their employees the best. You know what I'm
of
saying?
course, yeah.
The companies that, you know what I'm saying, really are thriving are the ones that looked out for their employees, like, you know, and take care of their employees, you know, like Publix, Chick-fil-A, all these places like that that really value the worker in a sense.
Yeah.
They are doing good, you know. Like even McDonald's had to raise their prices and take care of their people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
so, it's really just it comes down to what market you're in too, because you're only gonna be able to do so much for some people. If you're in like, you know, if you weld metals, like if you're a metallurgy company or whatever, like you're
So,
only gonna be able to pay that motherfucker so nice. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't, oh, you're gonna go broke, you know?
yeah.
So
Sim Politics said wrong Amazon, wrong Amazon. Have you heard of them, Deuce? Oh, do you cool?
what do you mean, like Amazon? Oh, like I mean, but they still pay their workers. I mean, better than most places though. You know, I mean, you could say it's a slave wage, but I mean, I shit. If an Amazon factory opened down here, I know a lot of people would jump on that, man. You know,
Oh no.
because it's good. I mean, because the benefits. There's a lot of shit that goes into that. You know what I mean? But I do get you. Like, yeah, is it
He said they got an
bad?
extra 35 cents an hour.
No, bro.
Was
I
that
mean,
Amazon got an extra 35 cents an hour?
I don't know. I mean, you have to tell me. All I know is a lot of people, you know, end up working for Amazon in one way or another, and you know, they end up liking it. You know what I'm saying? For the
Yep.
what they're doing and how much effort they have to put into it and the money they make on the return. I mean, I've never really
So
heard people complain about it.
he say really should be protecting human jobs. I agree 100%. But like when people go to McDonald's and they use that kiosk, when people go to Walmart and they use the little self checkout thing, they're not protecting jobs. Walmart has made it to the point to where they're choking you basically and making you use the little doggone thing. I try my hardest not to go to Walmart. And if I do, I try to pull up to somebody a live person and not the little machine.
You try
What
to
you
use
say?
that cash.
He told me to pull up a story about Amazon. Oh, hold on. No, I try not to use the self checkout.
Yeah, you only do cash.
So use the education device in front of y'all.
Brother, I'm
This guy,
streaming on my educational device. So
see what he talking about? Amazon.
oh, he's
Oh,
probably just sent something random about Amazon. But
oh.
I mean, yeah, I mean any you can
Oh,
probably
really?
pull
I
up
done
any
roasted
big
him
company.
already. I done roasted him already, really. Him and Paul about these immigrants and all that stuff here. I done roasted them because they going to Chicago and guess what they doing? They up there raping people. Oh, my bad. Yeah, they up there R-wording people. They up there shooting people and all kind of stuff because why? They were not vetted. And now the Chicagoans want them out of there. Of
Well, brother, I won't say the vetting is gonna stop people from doing crimes, but yeah,
course not.
would it help would it help prevent a lot of the crimes that were done? Oh, probably, more than likely,
They can catch
you
some
know?
of these people and they won't be so many people coming over here at one time.
Right, right. I mean, it's just hard though, because you know, like people can be good people and then turn tomorrow and do something bad. But I do feel you. I mean, you can't just let people just come into the country, you know, without documentation and shit like that. Like you got to be on top of that. So I don't disagree with you there.
Yes, it's crazy. What this y'all talking about? Your story
I just don't
here.
know if I don't know. What do you think is the best option
What you mean? In what sense?
as far as immigration goes?
honestly, what I think, close the borders, and just chalk it up as an L for the most part, and be like, look, if you're here now, you're here. Come on down here. You got a year or so to get registered. If you ain't registered in that year, or if you came after this point, you got to go the right way. Because I mean, I'm not about really people being here for 20 years, 30 years, sacking generations and just taking these people away from their families and stuff like that. But at the same time,
I could agree with that.
you have to stop at some point. You know what I mean? You have to stop at some point, and they might as well just go and stop it. Like, look, come on down here, get registered. Let's get all y'all on in here, and make sure, you know what I'm saying, make sure that they legit, vet them as best you possibly can. But for the most part, trying to get people in. You got a year or two, whatever the case may be. Come on down here, get you in, and from that point on, just slow the process down.
But I think the process is like 5 years. You got to pay taxes. You got to do a bunch of different shit. Some people are saying that we should lower the amount of time it takes. That way we can get more people in, and that way, like, it would entice people to do less illegal immigration.
Um, all that 5 year mess and all that. I don't believe in all that. I just think if you're gonna let somebody come over here, there does need to be a process, obviously. Use the education. Let me read some of these comments. I'll keep doing this part. LOL. Amazon went through a boycott because how they were treating their employees, not random story. LOL. You're just not informed. Nice. That immigration, get it. I think I make a total surveillance state, shut it all down. Cricket's louder than Deuce. um, oh man, yeah, they have to figure out. I mean, it shouldn't cost these people tens of thousands of dollars to come over here either. But sometime away,
The
they
problem
do
is
have to
though,
try to recoup some of that money. So I can understand, some type of monetary value, but not tens of thousands of dollars to get over here
the problem
and all
is
this.
that they have to pay their country to get over here though. That's the biggest issue. Like
Well,
for people to immigrate to America, it costs them a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like some countries,
yeah,
it's really high. So it's like people save up for generations just to get one generation over to America, and then that
yeah.
generation basically makes enough money in American money to send over there and basically get the rest of the family sent over. So it's the same thing
See
with
that
like,
part
if
of
they come from the southern border. The southern border is the same thing, except they're obviously doing the whole mule thing to get over, but they still pay money to get smuggled and stuff like that. It's like it's everywhere. It's the same. It's just different logistics. Some people they can pay to do it the legal way, and other people they got to pay to do it the non-legal way. But they're still paying something. Like if you're paying 10 grand, you're probably getting smuggled. But if you're paying like the $100,000 fucking registration legal visa fee or whatever, then in some countries it's
yeah.
ridiculously high. I think I had a coworker tell me that it was like $500,000 in her country.
Oh Lord. They really don't want you to leave at that point.
Mm-mm.
I, man, I mean, I really don't know. I'll say only thing I can think of is you have organizations over here of people who, you donate money. You know what I'm saying? Like if you gotta, people start a charity. You trying to help people, get from whatever country here to the United States, and have money that's not lining people's pockets. Once again, try to have that as free as possible. Um, as free as possible without lining people's pockets. Take volunteers or something. I don't fully know. And I know that's going to take a heck of a lot of money, but there's a heck of a lot of people who are behind that type of movement. And I think if you have a representative from different countries, at that point, they can head it up, be on the board or however they do it, but be the talking piece for that particular country and go back and try to see who wants to come, and then also and they set up like I say, like funding, some type of funding that has been funded by the people, like an alumni to a college or something. How they give back to their schools, something like that. I don't know how much money go through it, but then somebody has to negotiate possibly with those countries and the United States to possibly get the price down from $500,000. That's ridiculous, $500,000. So I don't want people to think I just hate immigrants and stuff like that. It's definitely not that. And I think everybody should have an opportunity. If they see benefit here in the United States, or if they see benefit in another country, or to be able to have an opportunity to go there. I'm interested in politics. Ready to politics.
I mean, I think
I had to help y'all out. Yeah, I definitely had to hop on here and help y'all out, man. It was a struggle. I'm playing. It's great to be on here. I just had to get all my stuff ready. Had to hop out of bed. You do this really late, so I was trying to support in the comments and keep the comment section lit. But I want to make sure I got on here with y'all. And can you hear me good, by the way? Let's make
yes,
sure.
Sir.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm here. You go ahead, Deuce. You're about to say something. Oh.
And my dog Lone Striker came in here earlier.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I seen him on my channel. He supports all the content. So that's beautiful. But yeah, y'all were just talking about immigration. That's something that, honestly, immigration is a topic that I feel like I don't know as much deep information on. I kind of have a very superficial opinion on it, which, I mean, I hear your guys' opinion, which I can pretty much agree with, as far as like there should be a path to citizenship that makes sense. That isn't going to break people's backs. But when you guys start to talk about it as like something where it's like lining people's pockets and stuff like that, that's something where, admittedly, I honestly don't know as much about that with immigration. And Deuce actually has a really interesting kind of point of view on it. So with immigration, I actually like to kind of defer to him on stuff like that, because he's had a lot of experience with that. So, but yeah.
When I say line people's pockets, it's more so, charities. A lot of charities are known to line their pockets instead of going to the cause or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Deuce, I want to hear your opinion on this, but definitely, because I want to bring this up as a side topic that hopefully we can get into. This is one of the reasons I hopped on, is because when you mentioned the money thing, I was like, yo, I just finished watching the podcast with RFK on it. And this is something I already felt, but I mean, either way, it made me way more. I was like, this is such a thing. Was the military-industrial complex. So honestly, wars as a way to keep the money. Keep the money in the country and rich. Like, I was listening to him talk about it. He was saying a lot of the money that we've given to Ukraine, a lot of the argument from our side as to like, oh, don't trip on it, is because it's actually through contracts that are American companies. So it, in their opinion, boosts the economy, literally. Like, you're literally saying that it's a military-industrial complex when you say that. But either way, I want Deuce to hop in here. My bad, bro.
Oh, you're good. So I'll touch on the immigration first.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that happens with it is, like, the countries don't charge us a fee, right? A bunch of money. But then the process ends up taking so long that to get your shit pushed forward, you end up paying the right person and they end up getting your shit pushed through. So that's a little thing there. But yeah, the military industrial
that's corruption.
That is corruption at its finest.
Yeah.
But in most countries outside the U.S. are pretty corrupt, even the United States to a point.
And before we move on past the immigration thing, because this is kind of like, and I mean, I want to get into this conversation with Paul again too, as far as the immigration goes, because I think this is where our opinion separates. Is a lot of times I hear this is what America does, this is America, on the Statue of Liberty it says this, but it's like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but at a certain point, don't we have to like kind of, just like when we talk about guns or anything, like don't we have to reevaluate and say like, hey, at this point, like we're an established country. Like when we said that, we were like, please, everybody send somebody here because we want to make this the greatest country in the world. At this point, we're the greatest country in the world, in our opinion. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people want to come in here. When we're talking about business, we're talking about the supply and demand. I know this sounds really nasty when we're talking about real people's lives, but real shit. It's like, I don't know if like, you know, if that mission statement when we first were established as a country is something that, you know, it needs to necessarily be the mission statement for the rest of our time. Companies update their mission statement all the time. Yeah, so it's like, although we should still be a place where people should feel safe and want to be, I'm with that. But it's like, you know, the way we view that, maybe we still see it that way, but in a modern day, in modern world, maybe that just looks differently than just we take everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, Deuce, I don't know if you want to say something on that or, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say we can't, you know, I've seen stories of, you know, years ago, not too long ago, but people just being ripped, families being ripped apart. Oh, you got to go back.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. I'm not with all that. I just want a system to where, I don't know what that system is either, but some type of system we can get people over here, and it shouldn't take 5 years to get somebody over here. It shouldn't take $500,000 to get somebody over here. So I don't want people to think I'm totally against immigrants. That's definitely not it. It's just
I feel you. Yeah,
we got to do something in some type of way.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I completely agree. My biggest thing is, like, when we talk about the immigration, it's just like I'm a first generation immigrant, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a good thing. I think people should be able to come into America and try to seek a better life, you know, especially if they live in certain countries. It's just like we have to be careful because, especially when we're talking about our southern border, because that's a border where we smuggle, like people try to smuggle in terrorists, drugs, all types of stuff. So it's just like we, you know, I mean, and it's not even just the southern border. I mean, our ports, everything. So it's like we have to just be really careful about who we're allowing into the country because we don't know, you know, like a lot of terrorist cells try to smuggle people into the country. There's human trafficking that's being done. So we got to really just try to do better about making sure that immigration is a safer process for everyone, you know, as a whole on both sides. Like the people trying to immigrate and then, you know what I'm saying, once they immigrate into the country, you know, let's try to set everyone up and establish everyone the same, not just give certain people that come from certain countries $100 fucking severance packages when they walk into the door, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's
$200,000 house.
There's special deals, you know. I mean, like you're using a really specific scenario in which I could get behind you on that. But like there are instances like what you're saying where when people are facing certain things in other countries, where I like to be the country that's in a position to be able to set people up if they need it when they get here. To be clear, not every immigrant's going to need that kind of assistance. You know what I'm saying? Some immigrants are going to come here and either have people they can stay with or whatever the situation may be. But there's some full families that are coming over here fleeing war-torn countries that, hey, if I'm here another month, my children could be bombed and killed. I thought you brought up an interesting point on the last podcast we did, and I would like to like explore that next time we do a podcast or whatever. As far as like, why is it that there's not other first world, and there is, because I know there's immigration and a lot of like diverse groups of people in like England and stuff like that. But why, as America, is it that we feel like we would have to reach over to Europe to pull people over here when there's so many places in Europe theoretically that are safe and developed and could offer safety?
That's just my whole
I don't know. That's a very interesting point. Yeah, I don't know why. I understand.
Like,
I understand we do something.
Like France ain't there. Like what the hell are you talking about?
Well, something to take into consideration though, and to put in perspective, America is almost the size of like Europe. You feel what I'm saying? So like traditional Europe, so like England, Ireland, Germany, like America That's why we're so
America.
crazy badass, bro. Bro, that's why America is crazy. Because it's like, and like I said, you learn this shit through playing Civilization. It gives you a different fucking appreciation for what they did, yo. Because it's like you go over to America, you can't do shit because it's locked up. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's a United States. That's real shit. It's as if Germany, England, Ireland, all of them said, "Yo, we're gonna be the same thing." But it's not even like that because they don't have their own isolated land of isolated land. You feel what I'm saying?
It was King
So
Alfred's dream.
it's the perfect scenario. It is literally the perfect scenario. So,
King Alfred's
but
dream of a united England.
well, to be honest, the United Kingdom. A lot of people don't know Ireland is a part. When like people think United Kingdom, oh, it's Britain. No, that's Ireland. That's I believe that's Scotland. So it is kind of like that. It's just think about that's their United States. It's like three motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah,
but
My geography all off.
well, but
I mean,
at one point though.
My geography.
Well, but at one point though, we got to keep it real and we got to put in perspective with England. You have to put respect on those colonizers' fucking name because that is an island, bro. That is a fucking island. That's like New York City took over the world at one point. You feel what I'm saying? Really think about that. They once said
Well,
they used to say they used to hold on real quick. I'll let you go, but I just want to say this last part. They used to say the sun never sets on the English kingdom or some shit like that, meaning that at some point in the day. The sun was up somewhere that was theirs. You feel me? But go ahead, Deuce. I just want to say that. I didn't want to forget it.
Oh yeah, no, that's like Macedonia too. The Macedonians fucking took over
Facts.
half the world.
They did take over
Fucking
half the world.
small
It's
ass country.
facts. It's facts. Yeah.
Fucking
Crazy.
Alexander the Great.
Bro, and when we talk about race, that's why when I listen to other people from other countries talk about race, they'll be like, yo, America has a race so fucked up. Because in reality, like when you talk about things like Macedonia, yeah, like you could be Macedonian or whatever the fuck, but what even is Macedonian? You feel me? Like what even is that? So I mean, at some point we barely even have our history. So it's like to even really think and be able to stand on like, yo, I'm this thing. You sound like a clown in my opinion. But I love you, and I'm just playing. But yeah.
But your point about America though, for sure.
Yeah.
Being like almost all of Europe combined. I mean, I do get that. But it's like when we talk about it, it's like but that's part of my point. There's so many countries that are closer to Ukraine than America. Yeah. But somehow America was basically taking in most of the Ukrainian refugees. A lot of those countries said no. Which is like America should be looking at that like, okay, well, why are they saying no?
No, I agree with you, and I think there's certain things that probably America could do to put pressure on those countries because we're allied up with all of them to do something there. But the reason I just want to bring it back up, the size of America and why that's relevant, is just because of land mass. We actually have a ton of America that we still haven't fucking developed, or like the middle of the country, for example. There's a ton of space there. Now, some of the problems is that sometimes you have these immigrants come in and they actually end up they don't want to go to the middle of the country, you feel me? So they push motherfuckers out of wherever they're at. So that's a problem. And that's part of the thing that we were talking about with JB, right? What's his name? I don't want to disrespect. I know it's JB or BJ. But yeah, when we were talking to him in Indianapolis, that's the issue. Like there's areas of Indianapolis, and he was saying like that, people want to live there. That's a convenient place to live on the south side. It's safe. It's in the city still, but those checks.
JB,
those checks we check it. Thank you, JB.
You guys made you said that right though. I mean, I do agree. Like that's the biggest problem I see with like immigration is like a lot of it is forced into the more populated areas because that's where the cheaper land is. You know what I'm saying? The cheaper housing, I should say. Well,
I don't think that's true. I think it's the opposite. But then that speaks to your point where you were saying like, yo, people come here. I don't know if that's true, but where you're like, yo, people come here and get $200,000 houses. Like there's a lot of people that are already here that actually can't get finance, can't, whatever the fuck the situation might be. So they can't get those houses. But like, you know how expensive property is in New York. Living in the city is actually expensive because people want to do it. So I don't know how they're doing that, but I think that goes to your point that you made earlier. How the fuck are they even able to afford these areas that people that live in America, both people in the household work, they're struggling to rent a fucking apartment.
But I think a lot of them are moving they're moving out of New York.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean,
what is that rate? I don't know, but a lot of people since the pandemic they can work from home now. They're like, well, shit, why not? Like my brother-in-law lives here in Florida, works out of obviously out of his home, but for a company in California,
oh,
and his
nice.
wages went up to California standards as well. But he's here in Florida. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
he snapped.
yeah, oh yeah, he got him a nice raise.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So
Why are I mean that's it. Yeah, I mean that's great. I'm happy for him. Uh, well, go ahead. I want to let you finish your thought.
no,
I
I
don't
ain't
think
have no thought.
I
Oh, you talking
Oh,
about?
I mean,
yeah.
I think the people that are moving out of like California and New York and like Chicago and those places are only the people that can afford it. You know,
hmm
um, a lot of people are kind of forced. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It's the market's very interesting
Hmm.
right now. You got a lot of people
Well,
moving around to you could say more quieter places.
I
no, from
think
what they
Chicago, they're
say,
fleeing danger. I think. Go ahead though. Yeah, my bad. My bad.
yeah,
But honestly, yeah, I think
yeah.
I don't think it's that. I think they're yeah, it's dangerous living. Go ahead.
From what I've
They're
been told,
gentrifying it. The
is
problem
that
with Chicago is they're gentrifying like the. So basically, what they're doing is they're forcing the people in the inner city neighborhoods into like the suburb areas. So now you're getting crime across all of Chicago, not just
Mm.
you know what I'm saying the inner
I
city
don't know if
part.
that's good or bad. I mean, typically,
And then they
normally
have to
that's
enact
bad,
that
but
law.
nobody wants to go downtown.
Well,
No.
yeah, a lot of cities I've been to, that is how it is. You feel what I'm saying? Like the downtown would be nice, but if you go outside of the downtown, then all the areas around, well, not all the areas around it, but a lot of the surrounding areas, that's where you get the terminology, east side, south side, all that shit. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's shitty. It's shitty. So it's like, yeah, usually they want to preserve the downtown. Like Indianapolis, for example, downtown is nice because they want to have the Final Four there. They want to get, they want to attract. Super Bowl
I
was
want
in
to make
fucking
money.
Indianapolis.
Money is
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
in.
But bro, you get,
Chicago
just a
Bears
couple
talking
blocks
about leaving.
outside the downtown. Yeah, what was that?
At one point, Chicago Bears, like this year or last year, one or two was talking about leaving Chicago. If not,
That's
still talking.
interesting. Did they say
They're
why?
not because of the crime
Stadium?
and shit. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean, they'll still be in
makes sense.
Illinois somewhere, but like or a different part of Chicago, I guess.
They need to do that. They have one of the shittiest stadiums in the league. And all the players bitch about it. Literally, they're like, "Yo, the turf or whatever the fuck they got." I think they might have natural grass still. I don't even know, but they're like, "Yeah, it's fucked." So, yeah,
What field you talking about?
Soldier Field for the Bears.
Yeah, they were talking about leaving there, and the mayor, whatever the lady name before they got this new guy was
Lord
trying to keep.
Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Crazy ass. Yeah. No, that would be wild. If they left Chicago, I mean, I would get it. Um, well, I mean, if they just kept it close, though, if they put it in a suburb of Chicago, I really wouldn't have that much of an issue with that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they're
Still,
not moving. That owner's not moving that team. He's in Chicago.
yeah, you
He's
can't
a
move.
Chicago guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but if you move it
he owns
outside
the
of Chicago,
Sox and he owns the. No,
Well,
but
actually
it's like
no.
Tampa Bay
yeah,
No,
Rays
actually
and
maybe I'm
St.
wrong.
Pete.
Maybe he doesn't own
Tampa
that's
the
what
Bay.
I'm saying. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys play in fucking Fort Worth or whatever. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So I mean, I feel you, Denzel. I think we're agreeing, but I just want to be clear. I do think that it makes sense for him to move it outside of the city limits, possibly. It's because they do need a new field, bro. They have one of the oldest fields in the league. Players literally bitch about that. Players probably decide to leave their team because of that, to be honest. I mean, at least that plays into their decision. I'm not saying that's the only reason. But I do agree. I think we agree on the main point, the general point, which is if you to move the Chicago Bears out of Chicago, generally would be a fucking crime. They're one of the most legendary franchises in the NFL, most recognizable brands. The Chicago part is their logo. You know what I'm saying? The Bears irrelevant. It's a fucking C. So yeah,
People would
they're
probably
good.
burn. People would probably burn that stadium to the ground if they left.
I feel them though. No, I feel them though.
I mean, man, you
That
have
would be
great
reasonable.
players that wore that jersey, Hall of Fame
Yeah,
players. To move that franchise
definitely.
would be fucking insane.
Definitely. Well, that's one of the teams too that like and I agree with the statement, but that's one of the teams that actually embodies the fucking vibe of the city. You feel what I'm saying? Like Pittsburgh Steelers do that. Like when I can feel that through the TV. That that there's an actual kind of pride around that team in the community. So so Green Bay Packers, like there's a few that come to mind. As a Miami Dolphins fan, I wouldn't say that's the case. I don't know if like your guys' fan base is
that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, not fair. And then fucking disgraced fucking his team was named after a fucking slur, for God's sakes. Speaking about America,
The Commanders.
I heard
America's team.
Magic
Truly America's team. My bad. I'm tripping.
I just say they're gonna change their name again.
We should. Commanders is bullshit. I think they should have just been the Warriors, man. Washington Warriors sounded hard to me. I was like, run with that. And then you can still keep it like Native American, kind of like inspired.
Yeah.
You didn't have to change the logo. You could have kept the fucking logo.
Could have kept the could have kept the logo or done something, whatever. If that's I don't know if the logo was offensive or not.
I gotta ask, you know what I'm saying? Since you ain't do it, you know what I'm saying? Politics, I gotta ask, man.
Ask me, big dog.
Your boy came out again, man.
Who came out?
What's his name? Said Braun was on that stuff. Now he was saying Bronny on that stuff.
Oh, Chael Sonnen. Yeah, Chael Sonnen, he's just not somebody I trust, I'll be honest. So when you said he was my boy, that was dishonest. I enjoyed seeing him get his ass beat by John Jones. I enjoyed Anderson Silva beating his ass. So definitely not my boy. He's
at this point, shouldn't LeBron like say something? At
absolutely
this point,
not.
If
at this point, at this point, no. Kid, at this point, if he sees Chael Sonnen, he tells his fucking bodyguard, he just hits him with the fucking end his life actually, because he's disrespected. Yeah, go ahead.
Chael Sonnen will probably break the dude though.
That's what I'm about to say.
Probably fucking not. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the body, whatever. Hey, bust one of his kneecap. I'll pay for your fucking bail. You'll get out. Trust me, you'll get out on that. No, these wild. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Is one thing. Okay, I can ride with you. He's silent, but this man's son died. He literally died.
All right. Well, I don't know why you said that.
Shout out to
I don't know why you said
USC. It was a player last year. The same thing happened at USC. But shout out to USC.
It's a coaching issue.
Medical staff. Say Bronny. Shout out to them. You know what I mean?
They need to.
They need to chill out. They need to chill out. Fucking goddamn. And why the fuck? Well, actually,
investigate that motherfucker. Give the kids some water.
Well, I will say though, like USC was the most competitive I've seen in a minute last year. I will say that. So I mean, I want to speak to the results. Is all I want to say.
You got the kids walking around with 0% body fat.
Yeah, literally shredded. But no, I don't think he should address it. I think that Chael Sonnen is wrong for even speculating on it. He's I guess
though he's saying
he is speculating. He's saying that it's EPO use, or he's insinuating that.
He's insinuating, he's saying it as if he knows it's factual.
Exactly. What the fuck is speculating? But it's not. That's why it's speculation. He fooled you with that, but because he said it as if it was a fact. But bro, it's not a fact. But it's not a fact.
He got to send that man assistant.
No. Yes, maybe that.
Tell him to
maybe that. Yeah. Sue his ass. Sue his ass for defamation of fucking character. If because I don't.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't. Okay, something like that I would agree with, but as far as like addressing it publicly, absolutely not. If I was LeBron, I would have no respect for Chael Sonnen, to be honest with you. And he's not even talking about my son, and I'm like, yo, that's. And I mean, when I said fuck Chael Sonnen earlier or whatever, like I will watch his show from time to time. I do like his content, so I mean, it's not really, But I mean, him saying that affected me, where I'm like, do I really want to tune in for his fucking show? Is he just a shock jock kind of like dumbass? He might be. He might be.
I'm not talking about LeBron said, hey, address it. Oh, what he? No, I ain't talking about that.
Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha.
We're on the same page. Yeah, we're on the same page. But because of who LeBron is, I wouldn't even give him that clout to even respond to him and say, shut your ass up, because you're just one of the biggest celebrities in the world. So that's what he wants. He's a public figure. He would like to have some kind of back and forth with LeBron.
So-
That's probably why he's saying that. That's like, yeah.
So do you think that'll come back to haunt him later on once he's retired, 10 years, 15 years? Do you think that could come back? LeBron didn't address it.
I mean, no, because I don't think little shit like this people are going to actually think about. I think it'll be like Jordan, like when you don't think about, like you don't even remember Jordan missing a shot. You know how, like with you, Kent, how you're delusional when you think that Jordan hit every shot he ever took. Okay, so I think it's going to be like that. If I'm going to think like about what I've seen with other players, then I think that most of what he did that was negative is going to be washed away and forgotten because it was insignificant in the bigger picture of what we know them for. We don't think about any of the wild shit Allen Iverson did. This man threw a chair at a bitch's head, I think, in fucking Yeah, okay, exactly. You want to talk? That's funny because you want to talk about practice. Fucking, how about fucking battery? I want to talk about assault and battery, which I'm pretty sure he was guilty of. But I'm saying we don't even really think about this shit. We love AI, and I guess as we should. I love AI too. So
one more question. One more question.
Well, I mean, did Deuce get to say? I was going on. I don't know if Deuce said his opinion on that.
Yeah. What was the whole?
Yeah. What was the prompt? What was the prompt? Damn, it was LeBron. It was about the LeBron and Bronny.
Oh no!
Yeah.
The steroid thing.
I mean,
listen. I can't really say LeBron's on steroids. I can't really say Bronny's on steroids. I mean, could LeBron be on there? I mean, yeah, he could be juiced up a little bit.
He definitely on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I mean, if he cheated, he cheated. It is what it is.
He cheated.
Yeah, that's a fact. Bro, he's gonna send you a fucking cease and desist. You better chill. Yeah, you don't got it like chill. Chill be live every goddamn day, brother. You just came back, episode 2. You better chill out with all that shit.
Hey,
yeah,
bro.
Chill got Dana lawyers.
Get mad at me. Just take the test, man. Just take the test.
Just take the test.
At my doctor.
Oh, okay, got you. Doctor of your choosing. That makes sense.
Okay, one more question. What if it came out that he actually did use steroids or PEDs once he's retired?
Okay, so for me, it would mean that he's going to be the greatest basketball player of all time. I think it would disqualify him from that. He couldn't be. Yeah, he couldn't be the greatest basketball player of all time. I think if you use steroids and you cheat the game, as we say. Although I do want to say one thing before, because Deuce actually kind of like sparked this in my head a little bit. The steroid thing. And I kind of always thought this, but how players have been talking about weed over the last 2 weeks has made me really think like steroids might just be a thing and it just might be accepted. Because Kevin Durant, he's like, oh yeah, everybody smokes it. Like, just be quiet about it, but everybody smokes weed in the league. I'm like, okay, how is it that it's rarely an issue and we don't hear about it? I mean, it makes sense to me. The league doesn't want that to be the face of the league, but it's like, if they're quiet about that, why the fuck wouldn't they be quiet about steroids?
I thought about that before.
Yeah. So that definitely.
My only thing with that is though, with the whole steroid thing. I mean, I definitely get your point there. The only thing with the steroid thing with LeBron is he uses his physical prowess to dominate the game. You know what I'm saying? So if he was using steroids, and it's kind of like it's just it's a big hit to him more than it would.
Well, I said that though.
A big hit to like fucking Duncan Robinson. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no. Well, but hold up. Well, of course, because Duncan Robinson right now isn't in the conversation for greatest of all time. So if this eliminated LeBron from that, which is what I'm saying, it would be. I agree. It would be.
No, because I'm saying honestly, if it came out that LeBron played like if LeBron played like Paul George and it came out he did steroids, I really wouldn't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, I disagree because there's still a physical element to their game, but then also we're not taking into consideration the recovery aspect of steroids. So it's like that means he's recovering way faster than his competition. If we're going under the guise that other guys aren't using steroids, then I disagree with your premise. Just using steroids eliminates you from that conversation, in my opinion. I respect the difference, the distinction you're trying to make, but
have you not seen LeBron twist the ankle? LeBron twist the ankle. Be right back out there like
he's like, damn, I feel great.
No.
Yeah, damn, I feel great. Yeah. No, I feel you.
I mean, he was talking about foot surgery. Now he's not getting foot surgery.
That's part of why I would say, but It would have to be steroids though. Like, you know, Kobe had the fucking experimental fucking surgery into his knees and shit. So it's like, and so did Peyton Manning and stuff like that. So they have access to science that I think or medicine that we can't even fucking fathom. So if it's something like that, yeah, go ahead.
Joe Rogan talk about it all the time. Go get the Sims.
Oh yeah.
I'll set you up
Oh
with
yeah,
a dog.
I've heard him talk about it.
Go get the
Yeah, I've
Sims
heard him
up.
talk about it. Yeah, so I mean something like that, and I can't really fault them for using things like that are within the like their competition could use. But if you're using things that are illicitly illegal in your sport, then yeah, I feel like regardless, make it nice and simple. You can't be considered greatest of all time if you do that shit. Definitely not. Now, what would change it, to be honest, is we may figure out at what, and I want to hear your opinion on this, Deuce, because I don't know if you've seen this video, but like I said, it could be a situation where we find out all these motherfuckers have been on steroids. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that was really kept secret. What I wanted to ask you about, Deuce, and I want to throw it to you real quick. Did you see the stuff with Kevin Durant, where he was doing this interview and he was talking about weed being allowed, and he was talking about a meeting with Adam Silver, I think, where basically he smelled like weed crazy, and then he said during the interview, he's like, "Oh, don't tell nobody," but yeah, everybody in the league smokes, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, that was the exact opposite image that you've been pushing. But intellectually, I understand why you're pushing that image, because, you know, role models, all that, whatever shit, and the stigma on weed. But if you're allowing people to use that and covering it up to the audience that's viewing it, why would I trust you? It's like the alien shit, which we should get into before we get off. It's like, why should I trust you? You've been willing to cover shit up. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you've been willing to do this shit. So it's like, now I'm supposed to trust that everything you said. Yeah, go ahead.
But that's how I already be thinking, and you just call me crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe everything I see and everything I hear.
No, it's because you do believe crazy shit. I tell you all the time, I'm open to the idea of things. It's just for me to believe something like that then it has to be proven. I'm skeptical both ways. I'm skeptical with the thing that we already think is the case, and I'm also skeptical with the bullshit that you're telling me. You feel what I'm saying? This is the thing. Like, I'm humble, brother. So I look at things like, bro, at the end of the day, I don't know shit at all. I don't even know if my life is real. You feel what I'm saying? You motherfuckers could be goddamn robots right now and just ain't told me. You feel me? One of you guys could be fucking an alien. Yeah, exactly. Look at you. So it's like, low on battery. So I mean, look, for me, I'm very humble in that way. I don't know what's what. But I will say, I think most likely, yes, aliens exist. I've always thought that. I think just from a likelihood standpoint, mathematically, it's unlikely that we would be the only intelligent life in the universe. Like, you would have to understand how big the fucking universe is. You feel what I'm saying? To even say that. So when you're shaking your head no, it's like, bro, the universe, you don't even know what the fuck that is. So don't shake your head at me, bro, because you don't know what the fuck the universe is, dog, and neither do I. You feel me? So it's like,
dog, I mean, like, when you look into the sky and you see all these fucking stars, dog, like, those are planets and shit. And then,
bro, it's probably spaceships. Fuck it, we don't know anything. Probably spaceships, dog. They're in our atmosphere, bro. This is what's wild. This fucking place. We gotta talk about this shit on the pod when we're in person, because I'm fucking hyped, bro. The fucking they release in the fucking public. They say, yo, they're sending probes to our planet. Nobody gives a fuck about that. You feel me? It's crazy. The next day, people are telling me what the Kardashians are doing. They're telling me about fucking Travis Scott not fucking performing at the pyramid, bro. They just said that. What? Hold on. What did you say?
You don't believe it.
Okay, well, the government's telling you that, though. The government's telling you that, though. If the government is telling you that aliens are real, if the government is telling you that that aliens are real, and we need to pull up the motherfucker that said this under oath this week. Motherfuckers do not care about this shit, and he said it under oath this week. Okay, you've seen it. I don't give a fuck if you've seen it. I'm assuming everybody saw it. I thought everybody saw it, but the motherfuckers are not talking to me about it though, and I'm a little fucking on edge about it. Like I said, so it's like, bro, think about this. Is some shit that just
UFI or UFA or something.
Some UPA
or some shit. Yeah.
UPA, USC, I don't know. Shout out to Bronny, man. Hope he gets better, bro. I don't even know what the fuck the situation is. But my thing is,
I just sent it in the chat.
All right, let's see if we can. What chat? This the YouTube chat or
Glee?
Oh, got you.
Alien mothership.
My bad. My bad. I'm not gonna look into it. I saw the fucking goddamn thumbnail. That's all I need to see. It's like, give me a break.
That's a
So it's like, what?
Harvard, bro. Listen, that's a Harvard professor that wrote that paper on that. That works
Yeah.
for the Pentagon. That is fucking insane.
Nuts. Bro, it's crazy.
You're
and
not,
that's
bro.
motherfucker.
Listen.
Go ahead. Yeah.
With that
No,
Harvard
talk
behind
heavy.
your name,
Talk heavy, man.
with that Harvard behind your name, like you just can't be coming out saying shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they will disown you as an
It's the
alumni
U.S.
of that school.
government. That's what it is. That's all
Bro,
it is.
They will take your fucking degree.
He's touching on some shit. Let me just you might have seen me say this on Twitter, but this is really what had me hype about this. Bro, he's touching on some shit that's so important. And this is why it pisses me off so much that it's just coming and going. Not even because it's monumental and we're talking about intelligent life existing. That already has me looking at motherfuckers like they're stupid. But because DeSantis, what he just said, there has been years and years, like 50 years of people with their reputation destroyed because they came out trying to talk about this shit. People literally died, were fucking killed, literally, to keep this secret. And this is some shit that's going to come out. We're going to, like I said, be talking about the Kardashians the next day? Bro, we are standing on the shoulders of motherfuckers that literally died about this shit.
Well,
I can't even believe it. Bro, I can't even believe it. It makes me sick. Look, bro, the thing is, I've been saying this, but when it's confirmed, that's what I'm saying. Let me get hype about some shit. When it gets confirmed, I'll spit in these fucking people's faces. Bro, he said this shit like it was whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, bro, literally, people got sent on hits to kill people because they told their fucking aunt about this shit. So they saw some great wild. Bro, said we had... Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, my bad.
I totally don't believe it. I think it's
JFK's mistress got fucking whacked for that shit. What's her name?
Makes sense, yeah.
I really don't
What's
believe
her
it.
name? The actress.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Literally got whacked because he fucking decided to say, yeah.
I put a video in the chat about a week ago.
Yeah.
I said, here's your UFO.
Aliens. Yeah.
I just want to point out JFK was
the fuck is this guy even
he was a
talking
brother,
about?
man. JFK was a brother, man. He liked them thickies.
Oh yeah, JFK was real. That's why RFK gets a little bit of a pass, but at the same time, he sounds like an animated corpse. He's got to figure that shit out. He's got to drink some fucking tea.
Yeah, bro.
Or something, man.
Themselves. They didn't give him.
Yeah, definitely shoot that shit right into his throat, help him out.
They did. I mean, Joe Rogan hooked him up, but they didn't really send him back.
That's true. The last shit, I mean, he did sound a little bit better last time I saw him. I don't know if I'm just getting used to him or whatever, but
yeah, no, that's not a presidential voice, though. You gotta figure that the fuck out.
Yeah, that's rough. And it's funny because his uncle, that's one of the first times they say that somebody was elected based off, like, basically the presentation, because the debates and stuff like that were televised for the first time. So America was like, yo, JFK, he looks all right. He looks strong and intelligent and all that. So people, yeah, he want people to
fucking
they're not going to allow him to win. They're not going to allow him to win.
I was reading some stuff.
Hey, brother, let's not let these UFOs get off the top.
Don't let them off. Don't let them off the fucking hook. I'm just talking about them killing people, and also we're talking about RFK and his fucking goddamn corpse voice. Yeah, no, I mean 100% though. I don't know if you can, but I mean I wouldn't mind pulling up the shit for the guy that testified, David Grush or whatever his name was, and he said. No, it's like David Grush is like Grusch or some shit.
Oh, I'm gonna
but
jump
either
back
way,
in. I'm gonna log out, jump back in.
all right, you're cool. But he actually said that they have like biological beings. So they have yeah. So I mean, to me, I assume he's talking about like alien bodies. He did say biologics, so I'm like, okay, why are you being funny with the fucking wording? But yeah, all that shit is incredible to me, man. And you still don't believe it. But to be honest with you, the way that the information is being fed to us, it does make me skeptical about it as well, to be honest. As somebody that already believed that aliens most likely existed, now that it's kind of being like force-fed to us a little bit, I'm like, okay, well.
They just give it to us too easy. I just feel like.
Yeah, here you go. I mean, really not easy, though, to be honest. It's been a super long time, but I feel you. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, just lately they've just been pouring it on. They're like, why all of a sudden they're real all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, so documents get declassified and stuff like that. That could have something to do with it. But I feel you. Like I said, that's exactly how I feel. Induced, just so you're caught up with us, what we're talking about is how we're being given the information, even though it's something like, in my case, that I believed in already. It makes me skeptical about it just because of the messenger. And the messenger already being somebody, back to our previous conversation, the U.S. government, you've already proven to us that you will lie to us for years, even kill people to hide this secret. So now that we're getting this information, it seems being willingly gave to us, it's like, I got to question it a little bit still. I have to be like, I mean, you motherfuckers have lied so much. It's like, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, it's so hard to trust them. I mean, because they just lied about everything to do with UFOs from the beginning, and they killed so many people behind it. So it's kind of like, damn. Like, compartmentalized everything around their projects with it, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. It's an interesting situation that they're coming out.
That's where I be coming from all the time. We just believe everything these suckers say. And you find one person, 2 people, 10 people, whatever the case may be, saying something totally different, but we don't give them an ounce of belief.
Well, okay.
I get beat up about this every day.
Yeah, I feel okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say I beat you up. I'll say I beat you up plenty. There's some bullshit that you say. There's definitely some bullshit you say. So, okay, I feel you. Like I said, I'm just skeptical in both ways. So where I agree with you, and I agree that there's a lot of skepticism around people that just want to take the easiest answer, the first answer they're given. So I agree with that. But a lot of people are just critical thinkers, and not to say that you're not a critical thinker, because you are thinking critically. It's just, I'm just not stopping at that point. It's like, when you tell me some shit, even if people have been telling me aliens are real, certain people have been telling me that, I already believe that. It was in line with my bias in a way, but I just wasn't so quick to accept it because I needed, a lot. And this isn't even enough for me to say 100% aliens exist. I have no doubt. And that's what I'm telling you now. It's like, I wonder, like, yeah, this shit, it might not even be other planets, or it could be, if you've been lying this whole time, we got spaceships in the atmosphere, or whatever the fuck they're saying. It's like, there might be aliens on the moon. They've been telling us there's no life on the moon. How the fuck do we know that? There might be life on Mars already. Like, really where it gets crazy is if they're not a domestic alien in a way, like from our solar system, and I said this in the chat the other day, for us, that, like, for a civilization or another civilization to be able to come from another fucking galaxy to come and visit us, a biological being, bro, they have to be able to, like, fold space. They have to be several thousand years ahead of us. I told y'all, and this is facts, the next step in civilization or whatever for our civilization to be the next grade, because there's grades of civilizations, we're like a grade 1, or it might be grade 2, but either way, we're at the point where we can harvest resources from our planet. We're not even getting to the next point until we can harvest resources effectively from our home star, so the sun, which we can't do. That's why I sent y'all the Dyson sphere, because theoretically that's what they think is how you do that. But they don't even know how to construct things on the sun. You feel what I'm saying? They can't get close to it like that. It's odd. I don't know.
Can't get to the moon. How are we gonna get to the sun?
I don't know. We might have been to the moon and found some shit there and been like, okay, never coming back again. But I feel you. Yeah, 100%. That's my point though. Is if there's aliens here coming to visit us, they're several thousand years ahead of us. You feel me? Like, now, I mean, if they're from, like, Mars, which at this point is a possibility because our government's fucking liars and anything's possible, then that makes it a little bit more understandable for us, because at least it's like, that still is ahead of us, but that's a little bit closer. But if it came from another fucking galaxy, bro, that means it had to, like I said, I said what I said.
You sound like me, like I sound to you.
I said what I said, bro. That's all I could say. Yeah. I told the motherfuckers the truth. I gave them the information. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's all I can say.
I don't believe it.
I hear you. No, and I hear you on that. I just don't understand why you wouldn't believe. I actually had this debate the other day with somebody else, and they're religious, and they didn't believe. And for me, I don't even understand how this necessarily refutes any concepts of religion, really. I mean, exactly what you think is your religion might not be true, but it's like, that actually makes it more believable for me. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm starting to see what these books are actually trying to describe, that there's other fucking intelligent civilizations that could have possibly started this, or might be telling stories about that. Makes way more fucking sense, actually. So anybody that thinks like this threatens my religion, I don't agree with that. But yeah, my bad. What were you saying?
There's not a biblical religious reason why I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I mean, you've told me before that it's because God made everything on earth, and that's what it is. But okay, I got you. All right. If it's not direct.
God did make
You did
everything.
Yeah, you did say some shit like that. You did say some shit about God when we talked about it. That's fine.
But God could have made the aliens too. If they're real, God did make the aliens.
I agree. I agree. I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue with our recollection on your position.
It's
you know
not
what I mean? Because like,
why I don't believe it is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm just saying I remember differently, but maybe that's changed, so that's fine. But like I said, I don't want to argue with you about either of our recollection. Either of us could be correct or wrong. But that's fine. That's fine. I think it's an interesting conversation with as far as like how aliens and extraterrestrial life, how it fits within our understanding of a origin story for our civilization. So I think it does go hand in hand with religion. Maybe not, smoothly, but I think it's an interesting conversation for us to have maybe some other day. But I'm ready to see what you're about to play, bro.
And this the guy right here? Whistleblower tells the U.S. So a multiple decade program that captured UFOs.
City believes in the doers, the makers,
There we
the
go.
movers.
Shout
and
out to the
companies
farmers.
Like we, who process their payments all over the world using City's global scale. So doers everywhere can do
We all
what
know
they
that
do
people love
for the love of progress. City.
Wow, okay. All right, Associated Press. Here's the
I was
bullshit.
informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
He was informed.
Okay, well, first off, that's the very beginning.
To which I was denied access to those additional read
cut me off.
when
Got you.
I requested it. I made the decision based on the data I collected.
My bad. Go ahead. What you gonna say? It's the very beginning.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't that important. I was just fucking around. But what I just said, it's the very beginning. So he's gonna say more shit. And also take note that he said that they're reverse engineering. So that's very important. That little tip.
Find stuff when they're gonna reverse engineer to try to figure it out.
Information to my superiors and multiple inspectors general, and in effect becoming a whistleblower.
I'm so sorry, but Dr. Fauci lied in front of these people too. So if you lie, really don't do nothing.
Yeah, but why would he lie about this?
I've suffered
gotcha.
retaliation for my decision, but I am hopeful that my actions will ultimately lead.
The one thing I think that we have to be mindful of is we've had a lot of influence in our government from foreign countries, and we've got certain laws and things passed through, and that really aren't what the people wanted. I don't think this whistleblower thing was something that people necessarily asked for. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but this could be dangerous for the country, because if we are doing what he says we're doing, why the fuck are you telling the world about it?
Sure, yeah.
All right, let me hear what he said. Hear what we doing.
To a positive outcome of increased transparency.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
No, bitch,
Yes.
we have them.
And here's why. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Well, fucking look
And
at
you
him.
could put that
This
anywhere.
is fucking
If
flavor.
you
He's the
had one,
pilot.
you captured one, you reverse engineered it, you got it to work. You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing.
Pause this shit, Kent. Goddamn. What the fuck did we just hear? Bro, he started out. You should have paused it at the beginning. Yeah.
He used to pilot the F-16, and he's the one that had the contact with the UFO that they call the Tic Tac.
Yeah, they should have. Bro, you should have paused it at the very fucking beginning where he said what we encountered was far beyond what we had ever seen. Like what? This is a military. When we say that the military has technology that's 20 years beyond us, right? He is somebody that has been exposed to that. You feel me? So it's beyond that.
He was in the best,
bro.
Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
That the U.S.
But I don't know.
And he's like, that
and he
is
could not even
other
fucking get close to that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He probably encountered something he didn't know what it was, but it's just other government people playing around. And I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to release this and scare the public half to death and roll in new shit.
Scare who, brother? Scare who? You forgot about the Second Amendment, right to bear arms, brother. Who's scared?
But you don't know what these so-called aliens look like. We don't know if you shoot them, will they die?
Shit. That's why I'm getting all types of exotic ammo.
Yeah, I think with all this, it does call into question and I mean, you already know we've been talking a little bit about our skepticism around, like space and things like that. It's something I've talked to you about a lot, Kent. And
Gates don't even believe we went out into space.
Yeah, we don't believe it's possible.
I mean, we've been out there floating around a little bit, but I don't think we've been to the moon. We haven't been to the moon.
Yeah, but I mean, when we think about like how much of the ocean and things like that are, yeah, bro. I mean, go ahead.
What do you do? So if I told you that people say, so what if I told you like ancient civilization said you get to outer space by going through the ocean?
I mean, I've heard that before. I've heard you walk in the middle of the doggone Arizona desert, and I told you about it. Walk in the middle of the Arizona desert and come out in Africa. There's supposedly a spot.
Hey,
I've heard it. I don't believe it. I've heard it.
Yeah.
Find the right fucking cavern, bro. You might just do it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see like what would the wide scale cover up for like people that are like pilots and things like that be. But it is interesting to think about, and I know I've told you that I've considered like the fucking kind of like realm possibility where there's kind of like these flat surfaces that you could travel between. That's like what the Nordic people believed, and that's some shit that I think is interesting. I wouldn't say go so far as I believe that, but I do think that just intellectually it's interesting to consider things like that when you consider how unreliable our source for all information truly is. And so it's like really anything is possible. So the aliens
we don't have a lot of ancient
anything is possible. I will agree with that 100%. Is it possible?
We don't have a lot of ancient information though.
Yeah. Is it possible that aliens are real? Yes. I just don't believe them. But is it possible? It's definitely all possible.
Well, no, but we have alien hieroglyphics from like pyramids and shit that date back centuries. They literally
cave that you sent today,
shit falling from the sky.
Deuce, that cave that you sent today, that was really interesting. That cave that was painted. They were showing all the sites. You sent something where it's like all the sites that people aren't allowed to go. And there was a cave in like Paris or some shit that was like painted from way, way, way back in the day. It was crazy shit. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
And
I think
that's where all the stuff.
Well, because that type of shit would blow your mind. If you think about fucking Galileo, fucking painting a fucking mural of fucking an alien spacecraft that we fucking depict today. Do you know what the fuck that would do to people? People would lose their fucking minds. Their whole basis of reality would probably fucking not like level-headed people like us, but and other people like they would freak the fuck. Like, they would not even. They wouldn't work, bro. They wouldn't fucking take care of themselves. Like they would be fucking panicking because they would know what is real and what is not real.
Yeah.
And Ken, I want to push back on your point because you said something that I think was meant to agree with me, but I kind of actually think was a little dismissive, which was you said anything is possible. Then you listed a few things. So I think this is not, we don't agree on that. I think that with aliens, it's past that anything is possible proposition. We're to the point. No, I think literally mathematically, and this is why I believe before. I think this was always the case. I think this is just something that I guess is like kind of tangible evidence, even though I'm not really taking it as tangible evidence, but it is something that I'm, taking into consideration. But no, I'm saying mathematically, literally. Like, think about how big the universe is. For you to think that we're the only intelligent life, literally mathematically, it doesn't make sense, brother. That's all I'm saying. So it's like, just think about probability. Think about flipping a fucking coin. Now, I mean, that's a very basic version, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about probability, possibility, whatever. Bro, all of the thousands and millions of fucking planets and life forms that exist just on this planet.
How do we know there's that many planets anyway?
Well, I mean, some of them we can observe, but like I said, so I'm with you as far as like, I think that, once again, everything is up for debate, so I will agree with you as far as that goes. But if we're taking NASA and those organizations at their word, then we've observed a lot of planets. So we sent drones out there to observe. We can see them through like things like the James Webb Telescope, can see extremely far out, can even see back in time, technically. So, like, can see when stars are being created and shit. It can see so far. But no, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I think you have to consider all that. But if that is the case, that there's all of these.
Now, this is a fact, though. Something as simple as when I was in high school, when I was in school, Pluto was a planet. Now, all of a sudden, Pluto isn't a planet. And then I think they made it a planet again. Like, something that simple.
What's your point with that, though?
It's like, why would I believe any damn thing they say? It's a planet, it's not a planet. It's a planet, all this other shit they see out there. It's a planet, it's not, it's a star, it's this, it's that.
I don't know if you guys watched, I don't know if you guys watched the PVD podcast with Chris Cumio recently. But he actually had an interesting point when it came to Anthony Fauci, who I'm not a fan of, and I agree with you guys for the most part. He said that one reason he thinks that Anthony Fauci shouldn't have been speaking to the American public, he said it's because science changes. And he says sometimes people have a hard time with that. So he's like, it should have, in his opinion, not to get too off subject, it should have all been fed to the president. President should have been like, hey, I talked to my experts. This is what I think we should be doing, da 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 da. But he's saying when you have a person from the community speak out, and then things change, which is normal for science, because science is supposed to take more information and not be attached to the previous conclusion, but be willing to change, based off whatever the new information is. So that would be my response, is that we're able to observe things more closely at this point, and that's, they know more about Pluto, and it's no longer a planet because of that reason. I actually don't think it became a planet again, to be honest. But even if it did, my answer was still... Well, but even if it did, my answer would still be the same, that science has that leeway to change. That's what science is kind of all about. And in a lot of ways, and Joe Rogan also had talked about this as far as like the scientific and medicine communities being bought and paid for, and not doing that, being married to old principles and not being willing to consider anything else. That's science not working properly. That's like bureaucracy, pretending to be science. So, so I'm with you. Okay.
No, I mean, that's a good explanation of it. I mean, me personally, I just don't believe you've hid this whole time. Why now? That's like, if somebody could explain to me why now all of a sudden, and it's just like, the president released some, I think Trump released them, I think it was Trump where he released the some of the stuff where, basically saying aliens was real. But why now?
Okay, so question. Yeah. Have you guys seen Chimp Empire on fucking Netflix?
Nope, I've never heard of it.
All right, well, either way, let me just use this as an analogy. So in Chimp Empire, the whole point was to be able to get so close to chimps to where you could observe their actual behavior and not be noticed. Like, the chimps in that are so like blind to humans, to the point to where they're beating each other. They're doing all the normal shit basically. So it's like, if you were a alien, you have to, and you were so advanced that you could travel to this planet, there may be a benefit in just being able to observe us without us knowing, or even maybe you wouldn't want us to know for some other reason, maybe because we couldn't handle it or whatever, like what you guys were talking about earlier, people go crazy. So I don't know. I honestly don't know, but you would have to consider from the aliens' perspective on there. They're coming from a different place than we are. Why would they not want to be seen?
I'm saying from the government.
Same thing you said. Yeah. Same thing you said earlier. They don't want to freak out. They want to freak people out. They want people to still be doing their fucking daily duties, going to work, keeping society up, building fucking roads and shit, building goddamn fucking whatever.
And that's what they're doing. But they told us, all of a sudden, they told us, oh, this is real. Well, I believe that's something. I believe it's something bigger than that. Who in the heck thought in a million years the whole world was going to shut down? You know, the COVID stuff. We got so many different things going on right now, and then you hit us with this. I think at the end of the day, I think it's the government doing it. That's just me. And I think it plays along with everything else that they have going along. We got cryptocurrency, a big thing right now. COVID, obviously. So this super inflation or what we want to call recession or whatever we're in. Then they changed the definition of that. I just think it's something else. And it's not like somebody found something and recorded it. It's just, oh, here we go. Yep, all of a sudden, the alien's real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So, I mean, definitely, I think it's good to be skeptical. So, I'm not going to I can't hate on you for that. I think it's definitely good to consider the source. I really don't want to see it with my own eyes, to be honest, but, really seeing is believing. So, I mean, I feel you on that. It is also interesting that if this is the case, it's probably fair to believe that other governments have this information as well and have had sightings. So why is it that this is something?
The new world or the developed countries.
Yeah. So I mean, if that is the case, it isn't. You kind of started to say New World Order, which I think is actually what I'm getting at. Oh, I thought you were going to say it. Either way.
But now that you say that, you have to usher in the New World Order. Yeah.
That's not necessarily what I'm getting at as far as but it does kind of lend itself to that because this would be a conspiracy that must be worldwide. Like, there's no way that it's not. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like Superman and fucking aliens only came to America, you feel what I'm saying? Then, that would be hard to believe. So yeah, this is something that through wars, countries got on the same page, and even when they were adversaries, kept this secret between them. That's interesting to me. I don't know.
At that point, in my opinion, it's about the upper echelon, the elites who, I think, was it World War I, where Chase mortgaged both sides of the war, World War II. Rockefeller played on both sides of the war. So at that level, they know what's going on. But the puppeteers who are us, no, we don't know what's going on for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we all got different ideas, but at that level, they all know what's going on.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they could be on that countries that could. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the wars, like you said, the wars that are going on. Those people who are actually fighting the wars don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, but still, it's interesting that through that process, that, like, for example, Vladimir Putin or whatever example of a person that may know something didn't use that as leverage. And like that, there's obviously, and to your point, there's some kind of like general shared interest to keep that secret for so long. If that's true, and then obviously there's a general shared interest to, maybe push this information out at this point. I don't know. I'm not sure where we're at.
Those people at that upper echelon, in my opinion, they're not really fighting. They're just trying to get global elite status and have us doing what they want us to do. But at that level, the presidents and Putin and all them people on the same team. That's what I believe. And then obviously they're gonna throw blame on others, just like any little organization, they do it to us every day. They turn blacks against whites, whites against blacks, everybody against them, you know, different cultures that they're just doing the same thing, just at on a bigger scale.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we ain't called
beautiful.
Bigfoot yet either. I'm trying to find him. Huh?
So you're talking about the elitist.
Yeah.
So
Rockefeller.
you're basically saying there's like a group of. So do you think that's a worldwide organization, or do you think that's centralized?
Worldwide.
Like, so you think it's in every race, every country?
Yep. Or are they going? They'll knock off the person. But yes,
I think it would be more.
At that level, I think you have, in order to get to that level, you have to go through their process, their steps.
I think it would be more U.S. and Europe, if anything. Like, I don't think like the Middle East would partake with the West like that, in a sense. If anything, they would rather compete because they don't need the money.
I mean, you could be right, but I think it's all. You definitely could be right.
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's tough because the actual power in that country, like the face of the power, or whatever, a lot of those Middle Eastern countries are ran secretly by American dollars, American influence, and have American appointed fucking governments that they fund.
No, I'm not talking about the governments. I'm talking about the elitists in the country. I'm talking about the oil tycoons and shit like that. They don't give a fuck about the governments. They buy out those governments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they run the government. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah.
Like, them dudes are buying freaking soccer players for $800 million for 1 year. Like, they ain't worried about no damn fucking general. You know what I'm saying? That general's on the payroll.
Yeah, they're trying to steal the NBA right now too.
The fucking president of that country doesn't even run his own military.
Yeah, the NBA thing is interesting. But like I said, LeBron posted that shit the other day. I was like, that is fucking ridiculous. All the money he got, and he fucking gotta make a stupid ass joke like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, that just kind of shows you his character too.
Yeah, it was shitty.
I saw that. I was like, that was just. Yeah. I'm like, for someone who's finessing the Lakers and changed the rules so you can get a max deal at 37. Like, him and Chris Paul worked that out for you to.
Chris Paul is homeboy. So yeah.
And he's allegedly
from that, and you still talking about money. It's fucking nuts.
Well, and he's allegedly, and I believe this to be the case, but a legacy he's a legacy guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for him to just say that shit, like, think about Tiger, my bad. Tiger, that's fucking hilarious. Tiger Woods with the ER.
Yeah, you said Tiger. I was like, what the fuck? Why is he?
Remember Tiger? How he was grooming? Never mind. We're not gonna talk about that here. But yeah, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had the opportunity to take the biggest fucking bag to go over to the LIV fucking tour or whatever. Instead, he decided to stay for the legacy move and stay with PGA. And I think
he got fucked anyway. They joined up.
That's what I'm saying. Well, he didn't get fucked though. He didn't get fucked because the LIV didn't they join with PGA?
Yeah. So he could have got the bag and still been in PGA.
I mean, I feel you, but at the end of the day, he's going to get paid for the rest of his fucking life off the PGA. And that loyalty move that he made, I think, was a good move. Because now you have Greg McElroy that just went over there to the competition, and now he's coming back over there in the doors fucking 2 months later saying, oh, I'll just play it, guys. I knew we would play together eventually. So, yeah, I thought, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Went too, didn't it?
Who was that?
Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, Phil Mickelson. Yes, sir. He did. He did, yeah. But I mean, for me, yeah, I think that's a little weak. I think there should be some kind of American pride in our fucking sports leagues that have, in LeBron's case, made you a fucking billionaire. You feel what I'm saying? So have some kind of pride. And then outside of that, just ethics.
Yeah, they got that money.
That's a great point you just said there. I think we need to touch on that right there. People need to have a more American pride when it comes to being in corporate business. You know, like, I understand you got to try to save a dollar wherever you can, but or make a dollar wherever you can in LeBron's case. But you got to just be real for a second. Like, you know, you want to feed your country and your ecosystem in your country,
Facts.
and you have to think about that. You know,
Yeah.
I just don't think that that's a big thing, and I think that is the one of few parts of capitalism, if I were in office, that I would actually touch on, because I
Yeah.
do think you have to stipulate. And you know, Paul might say, "Oh, this is communistic," and I don't think it's communistic at all. I'm not saying you can't do
Yeah.
business with foreign entities and like try to like have factories in other countries, but I'm gonna limit how much you can do that in a sense. You're not gonna be able to just have half your company overseas and be making a fucking killing in America. It's not working.
Yeah.
If you do that,
No,
you should pay some extra tariffs or some shit.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, the point with like LeBron, when you think about like kind of the joke that he's making is like, hey, top athletes could leave the NBA basically and go to Saudi Arabia. Now the bigger impact in what Deuce was just touching on, that means that affects American jobs straight up on the ground level. That affects how many fucking people the stadium can hire to work the parking lot, how many people the stadium, how much they can pay the people to work the fucking concession stand. All that because it's a less profitable business. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you really, now don't be wrong, that's why CBAs are important, and this is something that the owners have a responsibility with. And this is where capitalism kind of fails sometimes, is where you're asking the people who have a financial interest to have a heart, I guess, and take into consideration their partners that they're profit sharing with, but that's just not a part of making money in fucking capitalism. That's not making your business more profitable, but it is positively affecting your community without a doubt, and positively affecting your partners if you did do a little bit more profit sharing. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think keeping businesses in fucking America should be 100%. Or if that entails businesses wanting to leave because of whatever kind of like strict rules we're putting on them, I think this is where there's a little bit of a wake-up call. More companies will step into that market and want to take that money. So if you really want to take your shit and go take your ball and go home, if you think other businesses won't either grow their market share and fill your void, or new businesses will bloom, you know, that's what I believe would happen anyways. But really interesting point. I'd love to dig into that more.
And talking about that, think about Nike. How much it costs to really make them shoes? You know what I'm saying? They're paying whatever they're paying to make the shoes.
75 cents a shoe.
And then you sell the shoe for some of them $200. But let's say $100. You sell a shoe for $100, cost you 75 cents. Come on, man. You come over here.
Sell a shoe. No, man. The least you'll sell a good Nike shoe is $120. Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's got to be median.
You bring the shoe over here. You bring the factory over here, and you make the shoe. Is it really costing you that much money?
No.
Are you really losing that much?
Well, it costs them profit. You know what I'm saying? It costs them profit.
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. Well, here,
that's
100%. And Deuce that's exact. I'm glad you said that. It's 100% what I was about to say. You're right. It doesn't cost them, but they cost them in the profits that they were making. They want the whole point of business, stock shares, all of that is next year you got to make more money than you made the year before. Your stock has to be evaluated higher than it was the year before. That's the whole point. If you're not doing that, then you're not doing capitalism right, straight up. So it's like to Deuce's point. Yeah, that is not natural for them to take that loss. It doesn't make any sense. It's not in line with any business practices that we've done.
So my thing is, before they went overseas, or did they start overseas? Because before they went overseas, if you never would have let them go overseas,
they started here.
They would have to do it different. They have to do it different. Here. Or you can force them to do it differently. Or
what happened is when we changed the labor laws, we changed the environmental codes. What it is like, and that's why people get upset when Trump came in office and he took us out of the peace accord. I mean, the climate accords or whatever.
Yeah,
he did that so factories would come back here and not have to go through the leaps and bounds to be able to make their factories clean enough to operate. You know, there's a lot of things that happen to factories that made it to where it was too expensive for them to operate and then pay good wages here. So what they decided to do was, well, fuck it. If we can go to China, we can go to all these other countries and we can do it cheaper and just do
Yeah.
sweatshops and get
No, I
the
get
same
it. I get it
quality, then
100%.
Well,
we
and Deuce, real
force
quick.
them, and that's
Yeah.
what I was trying to tell Paul on the podcast that day. I'm like, we
Yeah.
force companies overseas. We force companies to go to our opposition and make money. I'm like, we shouldn't do that. We should incentivize them to be here. Like, and that's a part of the system. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't
Yep.
incentivize these big corporations to be here. Like, you want to tax them more. Do you think that's going to help the problem, or that's fucking, hurt the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you don't
Obviously hurt the
tax them
problem.
more. But what you could do is you could structure their tax breaks to where it works for the American people. So then everybody wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you just want to tax them more, you say, "Oh, we're going to tax them 30%." Yeah, them motherfuckers are gone. They're in
Yeah.
Dagestan.
Well, that's why I say I don't know
They
the
slaughter.
economics of it, but there's something that could be done.
So I've read quite a bit about this, to be honest. So I think that there's a little bit of an issue with what you're saying, and it's kind of what we've already been saying.
And what I'm saying, or Deuce?
No, what Deuce is saying is that you're right about the taxes. You should incentivize companies who want to be here, and so on and so forth. But the system that you're suggesting places a level of morality on the business owner, and it's just, I guess, hopes. I guess because if you're not taxing them, you're not giving back if you're the working class in that way. So we're just hoping that then the businesses are willing to increase profit shares year over year, which they're not. We know that. You were just talking about how they're laying people off. The reason for that being is because they want to, once again, increase their revenue, which is how companies are built today, like in America. And this is where it's extra problematic, and we already touched on it. This is where I think this is an issue that is really serious that we have to kind of get on the same page on and talk about as Americans, is because now the potential to automate these jobs makes it even more scary, because now what incentive does a business have to pay a person? Like their number one incentive, goal, all of that, once again, is to make more money than they made last year. It's because of all the reasons I said. Stock price goes up, all that, their fiduciary fucking responsibility to their stockholders, whatever the fuck. But the reason this doesn't work today is because now we're actually Xing out a huge portion of our fucking citizens, because most of us are not owners. That's just what it is. Not today. And if we do own something, it's like a hustle that we're trying to make happen, like we're all doing right now on the fucking camera at 1:15 in the morning. You feel me? Hustling. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like but you can't count on that. You know what I mean? We do need jobs. People should have a place to work, and you have to find a way to protect that. And I'm with you on that. But the possibility of automation, like, that is very scary to me. And I think to just leave it up to people that already do not want to share in their profits. They've already proven that to us. They don't want to share in their profits. They will cut the fat, whatever the fuck that means. People they thought were important this year won't be important next year. We know how that goes. I just don't have faith in the richest people in this country, just straight up. So that's where, I have an issue with it. It scares me for the future of the country. And I think that only widens the disparity of wealth, which is we already have one of the biggest in any developed country in the world. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting, complex issue.
Definitely scares me as well, because I sit at my desk, like, sometimes be thinking like, hey, I damn sure know could do this. You know what I'm saying? Part of it's already set up.
Erase that out the podcast.
I just make sure it goes where it needs to go. But just one of them things. Eventually, I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully at that point, I'm in a whole nother stratosphere, financially. Yeah. But I can definitely see that happen.
Yeah.
And I don't. I think they're trying to. There's a lot of stuff going on financially right now. You got a lot of these big companies buying up a lot of the real estate right now when nobody else can buy real estate. It's interesting how that kind of worked out, right? And then you have it to where they're now coming out with their cryptocurrency finally that they've been talking about for the last
the Fed now? Fed now? What, Fed now?
Fed now. And after they've basically killed off every big crypto player there was and arrested Sam Bankman-Fried, And then what's interesting about that is I'm pretty sure he worked out a deal with them to show them how to regulate cryptocurrency and not scam it, because he
I
just
forgot
worked out
about
a deal. He just worked out a pretty nice fucking deal with them, if I'm not mistaken, today. So yeah, there's a lot of shady shit going on. Hunter Biden honestly was given a slap on the wrist for dealing cocaine and espionage. They also let that go today,
He's going back to
but
court for
they were telling you
Yeah.
how. And see, this is the thing though, with this UFO
I think he's
stuff.
going back to court, Deuce. By
Yeah.
the way, if you want to touch on that anymore.
Yeah,
Hunter
he's
Biden.
going back
Okay,
to
so
court. Tax stuff.
they sending them back. All right, cool.
That was the
'cause, I
gun.
mean,
I thought it was the
They,
gun.
the gun. That's what it, because however it was set up, it kind of threw the gun part of it away, and the judge was like, "No, we don't want to throw that part of it away," or something like that. So the plea deal he had basically is off the table at the moment.
Yeah.
the plea deal he had was a slap on the wrist for someone who just committed treason and espionage. I don't even understand how that worked.
That's not what he's charged with. I don't believe.
Even like,
Well, that's what he should be charged with. I don't understand how that's not the charges.
I feel you. I feel you.
His father should go to prison. If we're throwing Trump in prison for some documents, well, both of them motherfuckers should be rotting under the prison. Like, what the hell are we talking about? They literally said, people, bro, you know what is crazy? Listen, if we would have figured out that Bush did 9/11 when he was in office, they would have hung his ass, right?
I don't know.
Well,
man.
I don't know, because his dad was kind of protecting him. His dad
Well, and they did figure out that they lied about the reason for going to war as far as the weapons of mass destruction. That's why they actually, we're going all out war supposedly, and they did find out that wasn't true. I mean, they're war criminals, so we're on the same page as that. Yeah, they should have went to prison.
But no, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it now. Like with Biden, he's basically he sat down, he made business, he did business in Ukraine, and then somehow we ended up in a war in Ukraine, and no one's talking about that. Everybody thinks that like, I don't even give a fuck about anything else.
After
Nothing. I don't even give a
that
fuck if he got paid. I don't give a fuck if he got paid to marry some Russian hooker. Listen, so he literally went to Ukraine, sat down with a Ukrainian oligarchy, some multi-billionaire, worked out some deal to get some shit worked out, and all of a sudden now we're in Ukraine, fucking fighting a war.
Okay, so not all of a sudden now. Do you know why we're supposedly supporting Ukraine to the extent we are?
About
that.
I've heard a few different reasons.
Okay, well, let me just give
soil.
Let me just give my reason real quick, because this is what I've heard. Is that at a certain point, Ukraine denuclearized. They gave us all of their nuclear weapons. And in that treaty, when they denuclearized, we agreed that if anybody ever comes and fucks with you, we'll protect you. Now, for me, that makes that actually, when I had read into that, that makes...
That's stupid, though. Why? Let me just say this real quick and you can finish. Because in our negotiations with Russia, the biggest thing with Russia, when they said that why they weren't going to fuck with Ukraine, is because they weren't nuclear. And then just recently, before this whole situation happened, we put nukes back in Ukraine, and that was why Putin's whole point of this whole war. He was like, "You're not putting nukes on my border. You have me fucked up." He's like, "If you put those nukes on my border, I will go into Ukraine and I will take it." And he literally said that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, "I don't give a fuck what else you do." I said, "Don't put them in NATO. You're gonna put them in NATO. That's cool. Yeah. But don't put those nukes on my border."
Well, no, that part wasn't cool. No, that part wasn't cool. That's what I thought. That's where you're going, and you're, at least my understanding, you're pretty much right. The NATO thing for sure is the issue as far as like Ukraine joined NATO. That was the nuke thing. I think is some extra sauce you're adding on. That probably is the case. They probably did. But the whole issue that Russia had was they're like, yo, don't put a fucking base over here. They're not a part of NATO. That's not cool. So you are right about that. And then they became the aggressor. And then because they became the aggressor and they weren't letting off, America had the responsibility to protect them. But we're on the same page. The agreement definitely. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, from my understanding, that little piece of land is really what they want, because that gets them to the to be able to get their oil out, so they don't have to go through the Ukraine.
You never know.
And it's a good
Yeah.
plot of they have what is called black soil there. It's the most
Yeah,
fertile soil in the world and shit in Ukraine. So you
Yeah.
can grow crops. And you know
and they
Russia,
want that as
most of
well.
Russia isn't,
It's
you can't
cold as
grow
fuck.
shit. So they
Yeah.
want to be able to get some of that, too. I mean, but they weren't going to do that. It was the thing until and this is the problem with America. We literally we go and we start these proxy wars and shit, you know, to fund our military industrial complex. Like we definitely tampered with that situation. Like our hands are all over that, you know.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that shit would have never happened. Ukraine
Well,
and Russia never had issues. They were
well,
peaceful.
they have had issues. They've had a lot of
They
issues.
have had issues. I mean, they have, but
Yeah,
they were peaceful.
and they. So what you're talking about with the land thing, there's historical context behind that. The really fertile soil and all that. There was a time in which Ukraine basically grew agriculture, whatever the fuck, for Russia. And then there was a system where they would send their agriculture to Russia, and Russia would be in charge of basically rationing it out for the Ukrainian people after they harvested it and all that, right? And then there was
That's
a
USSR though, right?
yeah, this wasn't like last week or some shit. But this is the reason that has historical context here. This is one of the things that like completely destroyed this relationship. They ended up having like a really bad winter or some shit like that. Didn't send shit back to the Ukrainians. Ukrainians starved, and they kept that shit for the Russian people. So there's a very, very weird relationship between them and contentious relationship. Another reason why we're so blessed as Americans. That's why it's so sketchy to have like mad countries all around your border. There's just completely different cultures, beliefs, histories. Like Russia believes that Ukraine used to be a part of the USSR, to your point. So they believe they have some kind of right to Russia as well. So, I don't know. Interesting shit.
It's just weird because like you have some Ukrainians that have Russian pride and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
that history.
Well, because they're ethnic Russians.
It's dark. Yeah, that history is
Well,
dark. You know what I'm saying? But
And the ties probably go back.
one of my friends is Ukrainian. One of my really really good friends is Ukrainian, man. And I used to fuck with him all the time,
Yeah.
And I would never forget when this shit happened. He was like, "Damn, bro." He's like, we used to fuck around and shit. He used to, call me Russian or whatever. But he's like, now, like, I got family over there, like, really dealing with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn.
Facts.
That shit kind of came full circle. But it's just like, there's such history there, man, and there's a lot of pride that goes along with that culture war over there,
Well, it's part of the USSR. So to your point, there's people who are like would be considered ethnic Russians that at some point moved to Ukraine or whatever. I mean, Ukrainians in a lot of ways, I guess, could be. It's probably offensive to say now, but it used to be a part of Russia. So I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of ethnic Russians that are in Ukraine still to this day. So and have rich family histories that are Russian family histories. So I agree with you. That's what's. Yeah, it's sad. We have people in America that have Mexican pride, for example. It's not something to be fucking ashamed of.
It's not to be ashamed of. No, like if you're Russian, be proud, man. Y'all doing work over there. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Oh shit. Okay. Well.
No, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you're looking at it from that point of view. I'm Team America, but I just think there's a lot of foul play that's done, man. It's really just like America should be trying to fix the problems that we have in America. Like we should be trying to make this country the strongest and the best country in the world, And we tamper and we meddle with so many other countries, and and we tamper with weaker countries and inferior countries. Like we go and we be these countries that can't fend for themselves. Like we fuck with their governments, you know what I'm saying? We kill people. It's just crazy, dude.
We have the most military bases occupying other countries by like hundreds. It's not even close. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, what do you think NATO is? Oh, you want to join NATO? Okay. We get to put a couple of bases here.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh, you don't want to join NATO? We're just gonna take you over anyway.
Well, and to your point, it's like as far as between, and I think this goes both ways though. I think that Russia could see NATO being in Ukraine as an opportunity to wage war over some shit. They really want the land. You feel what I'm saying? So I think all governments do that kind of thing, but I think that could be the same case here with America, where they're like, oh, well, Russia's being aggressive. We got to fund a war and destabilize Russia. And does that benefit us? I guess so, accidentally. And because we're literally shelling out money to these American companies, which is something, whenever we do a pod, we're already in 2 hours in, so I don't want to start here. It's a rabbit hole. But I would be really interested to see those kind of contracts and stuff like that are being shelled out to American companies with this Ukraine money. That's interesting. I don't know. Like, that definitely stabilizes.
Are we funding
yeah.
Ukraine to then basically you can buy our weapons? Is that what we're doing?
Not even.
So we're basically
partially.
Ourselves.
Partially, but then there's other kind of manufacturers and honestly private military. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so it's funding a sort of like black market of our economy, but that really that our economy is basically based off of. You feel? That's the sick part. Like everything else in our economy that we see day to day is kind of like elevated by the fact that we go to war, we have these resource wars, and we take people's shit. That's why we're the richest country in the fucking world. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, 100%.
I'm not gonna jump off this thing here, shout, like.
No, I feel you.
I gotta get
it's
up
late. I feel you.
At 5 o'clock.
Oh,
headed to the PA, baby.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Are you gonna be going to live at all while you're traveling, or wait until you get back?
I'm gonna try to go live. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna take though. Might just take
pair of headphones in your phone, brother. That's what I'm on right now.
Yeah,
that's all you need, man.
Yeah, rocking out. Yeah, it's been good seeing you back on here. Since you got to drive your family, I don't want to hold you on here, have you tired on the road. But I love you, brother. I love you, brother, dearly, and it's been great rocking with you. And I hope to see more of these lives, man. It's good to see you going again.
Yeah. We going ham now. We going ham. Going ham.
Yeah, man. A lot of good conversations here tonight. Deuce, brother, I love you, man. Yeah, it's fun chopping it up. Yeah, absolutely. I'll holler at your boys later.
Y'all be on the lookout for Gates Open Politics, man. We out.